Have you ever made a mistake at work that actually cost you your job? Maybe it wasn't intentional, but suddenly you found yourself being labeled as negligent, and now every job application feels like an uphill battle. Now, here's the truth: a dismissal doesn't have to actually define you. In fact, with the right approach, it can also become the foundation of your greatest professional comeback. Top of the morning, everyone. My name is Tshidi, and I'm back with another video. Today, we're tackling one of the toughest yet most transformative topics in your career development: how to rebuild your professional brand after being dismissed for negligence. By the end of this video, you'll know exactly how to reframe your story, rebuild credibility, and win back employer trust with a bit of confidence. First thing you need to think about is understanding what happened. Let's start with something that most people tend to skip, reflection, which is very, very important. Before you can actually move forward, you actually have to understand what went wrong. Ask yourself a few questions. Number one, what exactly happened and what was my role in that thing happening? You might be angry, you might be pissed off, but what role did you play in whatever happened? Number two, were there systems, circumstances, or pressures that actually contributed to that? And what did you learn from it? What have I done since to actually ensure that something like that doesn't happen again? Because in most cases, the same kind of pressure that put you into that situation is the same pressure that the employer that's coming next is going to worry about. This isn't about blaming. It's about actually taking accountability. And employers don't actually expect perfection. They expect levels of growth in everything that you've done, whether it was a mistake or not a mistake. They expect that from you. Oh wait, before we finish this video, I want to actually invite you to become a member of this channel. If you have actually been getting a lot of value from my content, joining as a member helps me keep creating very practical, high quality videos that can actually move your career forward. You'll also get access to me directly and about 30 minutes career and CV review so that we can actually have a quick discussion about what you can do differently in your CV. So if you're actually ready to level up your journey and you've always wanted to actually speak to me about certain things directly, please click the join button and let's grow together to make sure that we are ready for the next career move. Now, back to the video. Reframing your story. Now that you've actually reflected, let's talk about the storytelling, because how you tell your story determines how others will then perceive it. When addressing a dismissal in job interviews or in your CV, avoid defensive language like "I was unfairly dismissed." Instead, use accountability, constructive rephrasing such as "In my previous role, I encountered a situation that actually challenged my attention to detail. And since then, I've actually developed a much more stronger quality control process and taken some professional training in compliance and risk management to avoid these things." One of the best things about this story is, one, you're telling them the event. You're taking accountability for whatever happened. You've actually given them the actions and you've given them the outcome of those actions that you've also taken. The example that you could also give is, in 2022, I made an oversight that actually led to a process review. I took full responsibility, collaborated with the leadership to actually resolve this issue, and we then implemented a new verification system that, reduced, the future errors by over 30%. The experience taught me the value of checks and balances in high stakes environments, because that's obviously one of the reasons why I was dismissed. That's not the story of negligence. That's a story of growth and leadership. The fact that you've taken accountability and you've shared the journey that was actually taken, where you actually had to do a systems review. That was the lessons that you've actually gotten out of that. And it's beautiful to be able to say that. You need to obviously rebuild your professional reputation, because you can't just say "I was dismissed" and then just leave it there. And remember, some industries are quite small that people actually know that you were dismissed. So hiding this is not always going to be at your advantage. So please come up front with it and do not hide it. If they've called you into that meeting, it means there's something special about you. Number one is upskill strategically. Now, take certifications and courses that are relevant to the area that you fell short in. Please, this signals a very proactive learning. So if, for example, it's things that you could have actually done differently and they say you really messed up in that particular scenario, go on LinkedIn Learning, Coursera, and find courses or short courses that will help you get your skills up to the right level based on that. Number two, secure very strong references. If you can't use your former manager, find colleagues or clients who can actually vouch for your professionalism and work ethic. Because in most cases, like we said, negligence is normally a mistake. It's not something that you've actually done intentionally. Number three, leverage volunteering and contract roles. Short-term projects can also rebuild a bit of credibility as quickly as possible. They also show that others still trust you with the responsibilities. And if you find that short-term contracts that you've actually done and you're able to actually speak about some of the work that you've done there, and those references from those short-term contracts will be able to actually be very powerful mouthpieces for you. Number 4, rework your digital brand. Clean up your LinkedIn, post thought leadership content related to the field that you're actually in. Let people see the professional version of you today, not the one from the before incident that you actually had. Because if you just leave people to sit into that whole thing that says you were dismissed and they all whispering it, because they won't say it on LinkedIn, you're letting them win in that particular scenario. Now, the next thing that you actually need to do is handling interviews with a lot of confidence. Now, here's where the pressure actually kicks in. The interview. You know the question is coming. Can you tell us about your previous role and why you actually left? Most candidates tend to try and lie in this scenario. And what they don't remember is sometimes you'll find that your line manager and your previous manager, or your future line manager and your previous line manager actually know each other. And they know that you're a very good worker. It's just that negligence piece, unfortunately, had to go. Now, the key here is to be honest with brevity. You're not actually writing a confession. You're owning your journey. And this is actually how you structure it. Well, in that role, I faced a challenge that actually taught me a lot about process discipline. I've since focused strengthening my accuracy and communication, which has also made me a more detail-oriented person. And I've also done a few courses in XYZ in the last couple of months to make sure that I actually strengthen some of the lessons that I've actually learned from that experience. Then try and pivot very quickly to your achievements and what you actually bring to the new role. Confident isn't arrogance unless you're actually just confident with nothing to back this up. It's self-awareness plus preparation, because if you're prepared and you are aware of some of the things that you know are shortcomings, you will not sound arrogant, you will sound very prepared. So mindset shift as well as moving forward. Lastly, let's talk about the mindset. A dismissal can bruise your confidence and your ego, but also doesn't have to end your career. In fact, some of those most successful professionals have actually been fired or disciplined at some stage in their career. The difference in this particular one is how they respond. And how you respond in this particular scenario will literally give you the boost that you actually need. So first is try and forgive yourself, own your own growth, because there's a lot of things that you're going to learn out of those. Even if you still feel that it wasn't your fault, there's a lot that you're going to learn out of that. Show up better equipped, which means doing those certifications, short courses. They are very good to show people that you know what you're talking about. Remember, your past mistakes are not your permanent identity. So it's simply one chapter in your comeback story. So that's one of the things that you actually need to remember when you're actually having conversations with these people. So to try and summarize this, guys, is number 1 is reflect and take accountability. Please do not try and hide that. Number 2, reframe your story with a bit of intention. Do not just talk about what happened. Always reframe and show what you've actually learned out of those things and what you put in place to succeed. Number 3, rebuild credibility through upskilling, visibility, and even short contracts for different companies. And then lastly, handle interviews with a bit of calm, confident honesty, because for this particular scenario, you need to be honest to make sure that they don't come back and look at you and say, you forgot to tell us about this. So I challenge you guys to take just one of these actions today. Maybe it's about rewriting how you describe your dismissal, signing up for that short course that you've actually been avoiding. Small steps lead to big comebacks. If you found this video very helpful, don't forget to like, don't forget to subscribe, and share this content with as many people as possible. Please don't forget to be a member in my channel. Until we meet again in the next video. Peace.